Hey, we're Ben and Brittany Cooper, and if you're watching this, you're here because you're either interested in working with the Amplify team or you want to learn more about helping business owners think about the future.
We thought that it would be cool to just introduce ourselves, tell you a little bit about how Amplify got started, and then even just touch on our core values, just so you're a little more familiar with Amplify. We got started, how many years ago was it?
It's almost a decade.
Almost a decade ago. Originally, Ben and I lived in Nashville, Tennessee. We lived in East Nashville for 10 years. He was working as a full-time songwriter, hence the guitars that you'll see behind us. We have a lot of music just kind of woven into our business. But Ben was doing full-time songwriting. We had 2 kids. And then it just started to be a little bit less predictable than he wanted. He's always had a numbers brain. He's always been strategic. And even as a songwriter was really strategic. And after a while, it just was not as predictable as we were hoping. And Ben has a really specific memory of he had moved on to kind of producing. And he had FaceTimed me and our kids at night one night while I was putting the kids to bed. And he just kind of had this moment of like, this is not what I'm wanting to be doing. This is not the lifestyle that I'm wanting. Even though he had like 8 cuts on a Ricky Skaggs album, had amazing experiences. We had been able to go out to the Grammys, which was really fun. So it was a very enjoyable time. I was working in magazine editing for a lot of musicians and doing a lot of cool interviews. But we just wanted something a little more predictable. So that led to us moving to Austin with our 2 little kids and Ben enrolling in a 100-hour-a-week entrepreneurial MBA program. And you can talk a little bit about that if you want. But.
Yeah, and it was intense, but it was, that whole transition, it felt like a dead end. So a lot of business owners, common story is hitting a spot where you go, well, this isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. And for me, that was, like Brittany mentioned, just FaceTiming her, saying goodnight to our kids. Because we really deeply value the why behind, whatever role business is playing for us or for folks who we're serving and helping with their numbers. We always want to understand what's going on behind the business. And so a core part of our journey was, that transition. I grew up around numbers. My dad was in finance, and I was familiar with kind of the math and the way that numbers can help businesses think about the future. But that MBA program and entrepreneurship was super helpful to just retool and be able to come back to Nashville, again, almost a decade ago, where I had a chance to work with a group of investors in Nashville who were focused on businesses who were having some sort of impact, social enterprise type companies. And what I found when I sat down with a lot of these business owners was they had started something that had a lot of momentum, but they didn't have anybody in their corner who was helping them put a plan together for growth. And it was almost like they'd seen Shark Tank so many times that they thought, the only way I can get guidance is to sell part of my business and link arms with an investor. And we love investors when it's the right fit and it's the right situation. But what can happen a lot of times is you invite somebody into that inner circle of, how success is defined for your business. And that's such a critical space that we often get invited into. It's a really vulnerable place to come alongside business owners who, are unsure about the numbers in the first place, but, we have a chance to come alongside them and try to shed some light into where they're heading and what the future could look like and how they could actually, still dream about hitting these important things that they hoped for when they started their business in the first place. So that was almost a decade ago. We moved up to Indiana. We bought the house that Brittany grew up in. We're sitting in home office here in the house just north of Indianapolis. We have 4 kids now, and they're 12, 10, 7, and 5. And it's a full, as we speak, it's a full life right now, but we're having fun. And as we are coming alongside business owners and doing the forecasting work. I'll get into more detail about how we do that here in the next few videos, but just wanted to share a little bit of the heartbeat behind what we're doing.
Yeah, we really care about the why behind why business owners started their business in the first place. We care about life of meaning. What are the things they're hoping that their business can make possible for them in their work, but also in their personal lives. Sometimes that's like having more time to be a part of things you care about. Sometimes it's saving up for something that matters to you. So in all the work that we do, it is really numbers based, but it's really rooted in the heart behind what someone's hoping for and what a business can actually accomplish. And that's when it gets really exciting, when you're working with a business owner, and they start to see what's actually possible, and you kind of see that moment where their eyes light up. So that's some of the why. And then as we've grown our business and we've had to make some decisions about, what do we want this business to be? What do we want Amplify to be? How do we want to show up for our clients and our referral partners and, just our community? We've whittled it down to 4 of our 4 primary core values. And so I just wanted to take a second to just introduce those to you and just share those. Our first is hospitality. We are a numbers business, but we are always looking for ways to be hospitable to our clients, to people we work with. We call it our kitchen table energy. So we would love for someone to feel like they're sitting down with us at our kitchen table, having a real conversation over a cup of coffee. So every interaction, we want people to feel seen. And if people are on our team, we just encourage you to listen up for ways that we can be hospitable to people, listen up for things that people enjoy or that they like, and ways that we might be able to even send a box in the mail or send a gift or do something hospitable. We love to do that. Our second primary core value is relationships over transactions. And that pairs well with hospitality, but I think it's just that everything we're in is about a relationship. So we care about the numbers, we care about accuracy. Obviously, that's like our core competency as a business, but we always want to do that in a way that puts the person first. And whether that's in a call, the ways that we're talking, the ways that we're treating people, or even the way that we sell, everything is about the person first. What is the need? And then how can we help and meet that need? And that's like the whole reason that we exist. Our third core value is more of an internal one for our team, and that's healthy life rhythms. And that means that we have a whole person approach to our business. It means that we really care about, for members of our team, we care about their whole lives, their hobbies, their families, what they're doing, their kids. So that for us, that means we protect our nights and weekends for family time, for recovery, for rest, for our community. And we really believe that helps us to show up on those work days in just fresher and more productive ways that matter. And then our fourth core value is just what we call a friendly guide approach. And that means it harkens back to hospitality and relationships, but it means that when we sit with a business owner, we want them to be able to ultimately make the decisions. We want them to be able to steer their business in the way that they want. We're trying to put the control back into the hands of the business owner. But we want to be a guide in that. We think of it as a journey. We think of it as getting from point A to point B. We talk a lot about having a flag in the distance. And so we are just a guide, and we actually call our advisors guides for that reason. We're just a guide helping people get to that place they're hoping to be. And we want to do that with hospitality. We want to do that showing up as healthy people ourselves, and we want to do that relationally. And those are kind of the things undergirding just how we are as a business.
Yeah. And so we're super excited to get into more details with how we actually do this mathematically, and in sort of the strategy and the way we use different tools to do it. But just wanted to invite you into the heartbeat behind why we started Amplify in the first place and how we want to show up in the world.
Yeah.
So
we love
excited.
having a team. We love running this business, and we're just really excited. So
thanks.